Hey people, B-Dog Jr. here again. About 2 years ago I was having some shifting issues with my 1998 Dodge Dakota. I started noticing the problem on the first drive of the day, usually in colder weather, when the shift from second gear to third gear was taking longer than it should. Eventually it got to where I would have to lift my foot off of the accelerator pedal in order for the transmission to shift from second to third gear. Everything else with the transmission seemed to be working normally, and my Dakota has the 4-speed automatic with the lockup converter in it, which my Haynes repair manual refers to as the 46RE transmission. But most everything I think is pretty much the same on all three automatic transmissions that are available in the Dodge Dakotas from 1997 on up through 1999, just depending on which engine you have. My first reaction was to change the transmission fluid and the filter, and when you do that, you should also go ahead and do the band adjustment at the same time, because the service manual recommends that you do those items every 37,500 miles or every 30 months, whichever comes first. So I went ahead and changed my fluid and filter and did the band adjustment according to the specs in the Haynes repair manual that I have. I'll show you the Haynes manual here. Just the page that refers to the band adjustments. But I highly recommend getting one of these if you don't already have one. Anyway, back to what I was talking about here. So I went ahead and changed the fluid and filter and took it out and drove it. Still no difference. It was still having the same problem. No improvements on anything after the fluid and filter change. And I saw several different Dakota owners forums when I was looking online, and I'm sure those of you that have been online and tried to find out any fixes for any of your Dodge Dakota issues, you've probably seen several different Dakota owners forums. But anyway, they recommended, all the sites that I saw never said anything about Transmatic, although they did recommend several different fixes for the various problems that people have with their Dodge Dakotas. So naturally, the first thing that I went to was the easiest and the cheapest part that I could change, which was the speed sensor on my particular transmission. And after changing that, I still didn't see any improvement in the transmission shifting or any other features of the transmission. The next item on my list was the throttle position sensor, and after changing that, there was still no improvement on the shifting issue that I was having. And I actually had a problem with the throttle position sensor that they gave me at O'Reilly's. It was the wrong one for my truck, and it was having more issues, so I wound up putting my old throttle position sensor back on there, and everything was back to normal again, but still having the problem with the second and third gear shift. So the next item on my list was the transmission 2 to 3 shift solenoid. So I was looking at that, and I was going to have to take the oil pan back off to change that item. So I decided to look at other options before I went and did that. And one of the other things that I was thinking about was an additive. And I had remembered back when I owned a 1992 Dodge Dakota that had a transmission issue that popped up on it. I don't remember exactly what that one was doing, but I remember I had bought some stuff, and I couldn't remember the name of it. So I looked around and looked around, went to all the different auto parts places, and finally I found this Transmatic that they have at AutoZone, and I sucked out 12 ounces of transmission fluid and added in the 12 ounces of this Transmatic, and bingo, that fixed the problem right there. And that was 2 years ago, and roughly 9 or 10,000 miles, and she's still shifting perfectly. So I just thought I would recommend this stuff. My Dakota, the 98 that I own right now, it had about 180,000 miles on it when it was starting to act up, and my 92 Dakota was starting to act up around 120,000 miles. So before you start trying to diagnose the problem and trying to replace parts and everything, maybe try some of this stuff here. It's only about $5 or $6 a bottle, and like I said, the only place I was able to find it was at AutoZone. So maybe give your friendly AutoZone a visit, and pick up a bottle of the Transmatic before you go spending a lot of money on parts. And it should work on any Dodge truck, not just the Dodge Dakotas. It should work on any Dodge truck that was built from 1990 on up to about 2004, 2005. Who knows? It might work on all trucks, and it may work on all years of trucks, depending on what kind of problems you're having. And sometimes you won't be able to avoid taking your truck to a garage or having your transmission overhauled, But this is definitely something that's worth a try at $5 or $6 a bottle. And as far as I know, it hasn't harmed my transmission in any way. It's still working normally, no leaks or anything. And thanks for watching my video. I hope that Transmatic will help other people like it has helped me. And y'all have a nice day.